What's going on, guys? Welcome to our brand video on this channel. In today's video we're talking about the Galaxy S8, the S8 Plus, and of course the Galaxy Note 8. Now I just tried out the S8 and S8 Plus the other day for the first time. Very impressive phones. Even before getting the Galaxy Note 8, those phones are really cool. And as far as the technology with either of those phones, right away you're going to notice the better technology, including the screen. Really awesome screens to the phones. The edges to the phones are fantastic. You don't have a lot of bezel to the phone. They just look really futuristic and more impressive than any other phone out there. And even when you see the iPhone 7 or 7 Plus, you're like, wow, what is Apple doing? But Apple is going to be manufacturing a much better phone with the iPhone 8, of course, so we'll see what Apple is manufacturing with that. But with the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, they cannot compare to the S8 and S8 Plus. I think that was obvious. Most people are saying that. But as far as the S8 and S8 Plus, one of the improvements I think the Galaxy Note 8 could have compared to those phones is the outside to the phone. If you're a fan of the Galaxy phones, you know at some points in time, Galaxy phones have different outsides, different materials used, such as plastic or even textured plastic. I think this is an opportunity for Samsung to include textured plastic for the Galaxy Note 8. It's something that I didn't really think about until I actually used the S8 and S8 Plus. It's not to say that the S8 and S8 Plus don't look like great phones, because they do, but if you're talking about having the S8 and S8 Plus with that plastic outside to the phone, it's just kind of cheaper, and if you compare it to some of the other phones out there that don't use that kind of plastic, that could be something that Samsung can improve. So that's just a suggestion to Samsung. I'm not saying they would necessarily do that with the manufacturing of the Note 8, because from what I'm reading, a lot of people are saying the Galaxy Note 8 could be announced in August. So if you have that kind of situation, Samsung probably already selected the materials and hardware that they want to use for their phones. In that kind of situation, if you do get the same kind of plastic as the S8 and S8 Plus, doesn't necessarily mean it's an awful phone with the design of the outside of the phone. It just means that they're going to continue to use that kind of plastic. It's something I think that Samsung should change. Again, just my personal opinion. As far as the S8 and S8 Plus, the phones work incredibly fast. Now, of course, that's because you're not installing a bunch of other applications and you have the Samsung experience, so is it necessarily going to run that fast with other applications installed? Not necessarily, but with the phone itself, it has incredible hardware and also a great experience. And that's very important because these phones that Samsung are manufacturing, they don't just look nice, they're actually really fast. So as far as the comparisons though, and what the Galaxy Note 8 could be, I think it's going to be a much better version of the S8 and S8 Plus. Now I also noticed this with both of those phones. Very narrow screens. So if you saw the reviews out there, of course the screens look narrow, a lot of people are talking about it. But if you actually use the phone yourself, if you're a fan of a phablet, I just think that the Galaxy Note 8 would be the better option. For someone like myself who's interested in a phablet, when I compare it to the S8 and S8 Plus and now having used those phones, it's just a really cool phone, but I think it could be even better. And that's again what I think the Galaxy Note 8 is going to be. The better version of the S8 and S8 Plus. As far as the S8 and S8 Plus, I could realize why a lot of people want to purchase those phones. Not everyone wants to buy a phablet, such as a Galaxy Note phone, because you already have these other options from Samsung. And Samsung realizes this, and I also think this is one of the issues for Samsung to manufacture a phone that is different than those two phones, because you can't have another Galaxy S phone, because with the S8 and S8 Plus, that's enough. Now you're going to have a Galaxy Note 8 that's going to be a better version of that, and I think that's the reason why Samsung is having all these issues manufacturing the phone, because they know they have to improve that phone. With the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus though, when I was talking about the bezel to the phone or the lack of bezel with the S8 and S8 Plus, right away the iPhones look outdated. And you're going to see one table with the Samsung phones and then you see the iPhones. Of course Samsung is ahead of the iPhone because Samsung is manufacturing more phones throughout the year, and that's with the S8 and S8 Plus and even with the Galaxy Note 8. So when I look at the iPhones and the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, which I looked at those phones, once Apple saw what Samsung was manufacturing the S8 and S8 Plus, they were probably thinking a lot less bezel, a better screen, possibly dual cameras on the back of the phone, dual speakers, and even now they're talking about wireless charging. Those two companies are going to try to produce the best phones of the year. But when I use the S8 and S8 Plus, I have to say, for people to get a phone like that with two edges to the phone and the less bezel included, it seems like the less bezel is more noticeable than even the edges to the screen. When you have previous versions of the Samsung Galaxy phones with the edge to the phone, like one edge, you would notice it more because you'd have that additional bezel. But as far as the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus, very impressive phones. And I'm glad I used the phones because when I talk about the Galaxy Note 8, I also want to see what the iPhone 8 is about, and then we can even compare the Pixel phones from Google to those phones, because we want to see what the best phones are out there. And if one company can accomplish this and create the best phone of the year, then that's going to set a standard for the whole industry where other companies are going to notice that, and I think Samsung has done that. So when I talk about Samsung influencing the industry and also changing the industry, very unique and innovative, and that's what it's all about. But I'd like to know what you guys think about this. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you think about the Galaxy S8, the S8 Plus, or even the iPhone 8, the Galaxy Note 8, and of course if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.